Welcome to the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast with your host, hailing from Kokona, Wisconsin, riding a CST tires, SSI decals, Valvoline backed Yamaha YFC 450R, four-time ATV Motocross National Champion, number 25, Cody Jansen.
What's up, everybody?
We're back!
Welcome to the latest edition of the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, episode 140 of the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, presented by our title sponsor, CST Tires, in stock and available for purchase today at shop.csttires.com. I'm your host, Cody Jansen, saying hello to our more than 259,000 monthly Digging Deep listeners in all 109 countries in which you are listening, and this is our Sunset Ridge review show. The Pistol family at Sunset Ridge has been hosting the ATV Motocross National Championship annually for nearly 2 decades. It's a favorite race for many and a home race for those of us from the Midwest. But no rider considers it more of a home race than tonight's co-host. He's an 8-time series champion from Galena, Illinois, and he needs no introduction. Tonight's guest is one of the greatest ATV motocross racers of all time, Mr. Chad Wienen. He will join us to review everything that happened at round 7, update us on his recovery, take a trip down memory lane, and share insights into what's next for the all-time great right here on the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast. But first, let's quickly shout out all of our incredible partners. CST Tires, go to shop.csttires.com today. Yamaha, thanks to Blue Crew. Thanks to SSI Decals, Valvoline, DID Racing Chain, Namira Technologies, Bronco ATV and UTV Components, Launderville Steel Enterprises and Concrete Supply, the financial advice of the Haymauer Financial Group, DP Brakes, Factory 43, Binky's Forever ATC Museum, Impact Solutions, Ultimate Poly Products, UPP Racing, our choice when it comes to case savers, chain sliders, intake manifolds, and more. Use discount code DIGGINGDEEP15 at uppracing.com, the D6 Ultimate Quad Series, and Manscaped. Get 20% off and free shipping with code DIGGINGDEEP20 at manscaped.com. With this Legends race coming up next month, it is time to make a legendary move and use code DIGGINGDEEP20 for 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com. Whether it's the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, the GOAT of electric razor trimmers, my personal favorite, the Beard Hedger Pro Kit from Manscaped, or the best nose hair trimmer ever created, the Weed Whacker 2.0, get 20% off and free shipping with code DIGGINGDEEP20 at manscaped.com. I say it every week, so rad that Manscaped is continuing to invest in ATV racing as a longtime partner of Digging Deep. Help us keep them in the fold and involved in ATV racing by using our Digging Deep 20 code so they know you enjoy digging deep and what we're all about. Support all the great companies that support us, and for any products that fall through the cracks, click that Rocky Mountain ATVMC banner on our website. It's that time of year. There's probably a couple items that your race program could need at this point. No matter what off-road gear parts you need, Rocky Mountain ATVMC has you covered. But before you buy, simply click that Rocky Mountain ATVMC banner on our website. By using our specific link, we get a percentage of what you buy on the back end, enabling you to help us out while purchasing the parts you need anyway. And did you know you can buy OEM parts from Rocky Mountain ATVMC as well? Yep, shipped conveniently right to your door. So click that Rocky Mountain ATVMC banner at diggingdeepatvmx.com to help us out while satisfying all your gear and parts needs. Shout out to all of our donors over the last few years here. If you're interested in donating and hearing your name on the show, you can find the Patreon or Buy Me a Coffee donation links on our website. Major thanks to all who have donated, of course. Now, if you can't donate, but you still want to help us out, you can leave us a rating or review on iTunes and Spotify because that helps us out a bunch too. Now, it's showtime. The 30-second board is up, it's sideways, and the gate is down. Time to dig deep.
Let's go!
All right, guys, I'm stoked for this one. Another race review podcast with a big-time guest co-host. Nick Janusa helped us recap High Point. Jeffrey Rastrelli was incredible last week for our Budds Creek review show, and I said it was going to be a struggle to one-up last week's show with he and Wesley Wolf, but tonight's guest will give us a damn good shot at it. Brought to you by SSI Decals. SSI sets the standard when it comes to graphics kits, vinyl wraps, and decals of all sizes. Use discount code DiggingDeep10 at SSIDecals.com. This guy represented SSI Decals throughout his run to a record-tying 8 Pro Class National Championships. Now he joins us to help break down the action from his home track at Sunset Ridge. Allow me to welcome, without question, one of the greatest ATV racers of all time, Mr. Chad Wienen, back to the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast. Chad, welcome back to the show. Thanks so much for being here, pal.
Cody, thanks, man. Yeah, definitely looking forward to it. We'll see. We'll take a crack at it, see if we can one up those guys. But yeah, definitely had some good stuff going on at Sunset. Got to speak with you a little bit there. So yeah, looking forward to go over it with you.
Yeah, man, I'm super stoked about this. Obviously, kind of said the same thing to Nick and Jeffrey. Obviously, not something that we could do. I wouldn't put you in this position while you're racing and with all the stuff going on as a racer in the pro class. But kind of unique circumstances here, and yeah, I had the idea of getting you on to help me recap Sunset Ridge for the last couple months. So I'm stoked that you were down for it, and it was cool because you weren't just involved, or I guess you were more involved with this event than just being simply a spectator. We saw the photos of you out there on the dozer, and you were kind of involved in a couple ways like that. So kind of cool that you were involved in the event, even though for the first time in a long time, you couldn't be part of this event as a racer.
Definitely. It was, the second best thing that I could do, not competing at my home event. Got a very close relationship with the Pistol family, and man, just wanted to make a really good event for them, make a tough track for the riders on Saturday. Wanted to make it challenging, a couple sections that I was working on. So it was definitely a different point of view than I'm used to, but man, it was enjoyable. Especially with like the people, they don't get to see me very much anymore right now. So it's nice to hear from a lot of friends and some people that go to those events.
It was cool. I mean, I had a number of people chat with me over the course of the weekend that were like, so excited that you were going to be there. So pretty darn cool. And yeah, those pictures of you on the dozer, we were kind of pitted right there, so we were able to watch you. But I watched you meticulously work on the track, Chad, for hours and hours at a time. I mean, in that one section that Bob was calling Wienen's Revenge, the rollers there kind of heading up towards the finish line area, you must have worked on that for a good more than 2 hours, I would think 2-3 hours. And it was so good. It turned out so awesome. It's the kind of section that you would have loved when you were racing. Obviously you would have loved that to be out there, but I just thought that was a great addition to the track. I love that we added a little track there. We had some whoops, which obviously you and I love. And yeah, I just thought that was a great addition for the track, but it was awesome to see you out there doing your thing and to put that much attention to detail into the racetrack, man. I thought that was cool, but I know that that's how you do everything in your life. So maybe it shouldn't be a surprise either.
I definitely don't have as much time on running the equipment lately just because of, the injury that I had, but I got the okay from my doctor to step out of the brace and get back to doing some more things. I definitely had to be careful not banging around too much in that machine, but definitely I strongly believe that if a sand track needs to have a set of sand rollers.
Absolutely.
And I had the ideas. I was watching some old films of like Millville. It's hard to reinvent that section, but I wanted like a section that you really slowed down in and it challenged the riders. And it was hard to get through the section, 2 times the same way. Mm-hmm. And I was watching practice on Saturday morning, and I watched the elite guys go through there and struggle and make mistakes. And I was like, man, like that's exactly what I was shooting for. I wanted to see people make mistakes and have that possible opportunity to make a pass. And, if you're faster and cleaner through there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think at the end of the day, Bryce Ford was talking about how he never got through there clean the entire day. So that's a credit to you for putting together an awesome section there. Just cool to see you out there doing your thing. Obviously, I didn't know exactly, like I know that you were at Ironman a little bit. We didn't get to chat there, but yeah, I was curious what it was going to be like to see you at the racetrack. I was anxious to see you, put it that way, because I wanted to see how you looked, see how you were doing, following obviously obviously this big wreck at Daytona and all this downtime and stuff. And then to see you at Walnut, you told me that you were just recently kind of cleared to be out of the brace. And, you know, you looked like yourself, you looked like you were doing really good, and just felt good to see my buddy, I guess, exactly how I always remember you, you know, just, you know, I know that everything's not, you're not full go, you're not totally back to normal, but to see you without the neck brace and kind of, you know, looking just as good as you always do, you know, as a friend, like that was really cool for me, you know, to see. I loved seeing you as I remember you.
Yeah. I mean, that was the goal, you know, like from the accident at Daytona, I want to do everything I can to try and get back to, you know, myself, and doing that without getting an operation done.
Yep.
Like my doctor had some questions about it, but he, like, when we got into like the 3 months checkup, he's like, Chad, like, you made the right decision. You healed exactly the way that I'd want to see. And he's like, you know, you're cleared for me. I just want you, like, for my personal thing, I want to get another scan here in about 2 more months to make sure, like, before I get back on the machine, like I got everything rest assured that I'm completely healed, no question about it. And, you know, building my strength and mobility back. Yeah, it definitely felt good to go to that event and feel more normal than, you know, like when I went to Ironman. I mean, I was in the brace, you know, I wasn't very, I mean, I could walk around and stuff and, you know, communicate, but, you know, it still wasn't me 100%, you know, like back to me. But it's, you know, it's been a road and it's been a challenge, you know, it's part of life. And I think it'll make me stronger.
It doesn't come as a surprise for you to face these things head on and know exactly what you have to do to kind of get back to where you want to be. So that doesn't surprise me. Obviously, you're the consummate professional that you are. If you don't mind, though, take me back to like that day when that happened. And I don't want to bring up something bad, but like, at what point do you realize that your season's going to be over, and you know, that you're going to have a road in front of you, like you just put it? Like, at what point does that happen? Because, you know, for me on the side, obviously having, like, we know the streak you had of podiums and, you know, basically going 10 years, never being off it, and being a contender for the last, you know, 15 years or whatever it is, and all these things. And I'm watching firsthand. Brooke and I are standing on the side of the track there, and we watch you crash, and I watch you kind of get up to your feet and then go back down, and, you know, you're stretching your neck out and doing all those things. So, like, at what point does it hit you that, like, man, this is serious, season's over, we're one race in and I'm out? And at what point does that become real?
I mean, I definitely knew, like, in the moment that something was wrong. I didn't know to what extent, like, like I still move my neck. It did not feel right. And like, you know, I got up, like, went to one knee, cause it really, like, I took a big shot, and it really just kind of threw me off. And I got back up. I was talking to the medic, and I'm like, okay, like, I just want to get up back on my machine and ride back to the truck. And I went to get on the machine, and I, like, kind of like, I like look back to, like, see if there's, like, anybody coming. And when I did that, I was like, okay, like, that doesn't feel right at all. So I got back with the medic. They carted me to the infield. Like, with me, like, I was, you know, trying to be optimistic. I'm like, maybe I just got something pinched, and it, you know, that, but that wasn't the case. I didn't find out till the next day, because they did several scans, and they're like, well, like, you have a compression fracture, but it's not like you'd be all right. Like, it'll be just, like, you know, very minor, no brace, you know, stuff like that. And we took another scan the next day, and we found out that my C6 and C7, it had fractured on opposite sides of each other. So one fracture was on the left and one was on the right, and everything was in place. And then at that point, I knew that my season was over. Like, very, like, blurry about, like, how it all happened with that. I mean, I take full responsibility. Like I'm the guy pushing the throttle, and like I feel like the way that they were flagging the race, and there could have been things that were better that could have warned us that there was an accident, especially where it happened. It only happened a few seconds behind us. Like when Kevin crashed the lap before, we had circulated a whole probably 30 plus seconds until we came back to that accident. And I really truly think that they could have done a better job. I wish they would have. I wouldn't have been in this spot, but I also, obviously take blame on myself where there's three of us, racing each other. So it was like the focus was very high on what was going on in front of me. And I was trying to make a pass on Max at that very point in time. And before I know it, I look up and I see Wesley Wolf like checking up hard, like rolling the jump. And I'm fourth gear licked trying to hit the jump. And all of a sudden I'm veering left to miss him. And I ended up tagging his rear tire, and it sent me like very like in a weird position into Max, and I ended up hitting him. And it was one of those where like very, very out of control situation. And, luckily I'm able to, come like get my full recovery going and everything well as it can be. And I feel like it's going quick, but like, in that point in time, when you're given the news, I'm not a very negative person. I'm very like positive, and I'm just thinking like, all right, like what do we got to do to fix this? The doctor gave me the options, and I opted to go with a non-surgical option, especially where I can always come back and get the surgery, I'm thinking, but I can't take it away too easily.
Right.
So that, and it's been working out.
What a journey. And I didn't want to like dig up some stuff that maybe you didn't want to relive or anything like that, but it was just more, I was so in shock watching it happen. Right. Cause like, and you said it totally completely fluke deal. But to see you like I said, we haven't seen you miss a beat. We haven't seen you make a mistake for the most part since 2012, so to stand there and watch it happen just seems surreal. And, my mind goes to, cause I think I'm a positive person like you are. And my mind goes to, well, like, obviously this isn't what you wanted to do. You didn't want to spend your summer this way, but was this, the higher power or the universe or whatever you believe in, was this, that way, their way of saving you from something worse, like that's what my mind goes to, and it's like, if this is the lesser of something that could have happened down the road, like, I don't know, but I think I'm like always, glass half full kind of guy too, but I'm sure there was some moments there too, where it was like hard to be a positive guy.
No, I mean, definitely there's a reason for everything. I mean, just the way that like my season started, I started with a big crash, and like I'm still kind of like scratching my head over like why those are happening. And I mean, I know the first one, with at Rastrelli's track, it was like me just riding and I got caught off guard. And the one that Daytona, it was, kind of a wrong place, wrong time, not used to, I mean, nothing against like Wesley or Max, but I'm not used to riding. Like I'm trying to ride up more further up front. I was in like battling for 6th and 7th. So like it was different riding with those guys, especially on a tighter track.
Yeah. That's the big key, right? That Daytona is different than being at Sunset Ridge and being in 5th or 6th, or whatever.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing that threw me off was riding with Wesley. I haven't rode with him for a long time. And the way that he rides is like very like radical, I would call it. And he used a lot of the track, and I was like, holy cow, like I don't know where you're going next. And so I think that really like settled me a little bit, for a while. And then I started to get my groove and, started going forward a little bit and trying to plan out a passing situation, but never really got to that point. But honestly, like a lot of the guys like checked in on me, seeing how I'm doing and make sure I'm doing well.
Yep.
Asked me if I need anything, and that's really good because we we definitely all have respect for each other. Like, yeah, I feel like we're all like, friends, maybe like some tighter than not, but like at the end of the day, we want everybody to go home safe. And, especially a lot of the guys that are having like creating families, and, it's nothing to joke around about.
Mm-hmm. When that class is as fast as it is, and everybody's pushing the limit, like, yeah, you kind of hope that everybody's in the same mental space, that, hey, we're trying to all make it out of here. Okay. So yeah, that's enough about that, but super insightful to learn, kind of what that was like and what your recovery's been like. I mean, you've been able to, like, by watching your social media and stuff, you've stayed as active as you can be, ? Like, it looks like you've been doing some stairs, which I know is a normal thing for you and stuff like that, but kind of maybe getting a little more normal here. And I would think as you're able to get more active and be more physical and all that stuff, I mean, that's going to feel just as good, or, whatever, is getting back on the four-wheeler as soon as you can be as active as you want to be.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big adjustment going from like, basically 100 to kind of 0. And they gave me the option, like, yeah, like you can be on your feet, you can walk, like, obviously the first month was pretty tough, where like I couldn't be on my feet that much. And then like, mentally I was like, okay, like I want to see how this first checkup goes. It was a month, and I'm like, okay, like me being like as stubborn as I am, I was like, well, like maybe I'll get, maybe I'll heal even faster, and I'll be able to get back on the machine, like, and finish out the last couple of rounds of the year. And I got some humble pie, like, that first month in, and the doctor's like, hey, like you're not doing much healing, like, nothing to be worried about. Like, this bone takes a long time for it to heal. It's a very hard bone. And I'm like, and he's like, just settle in. Like, it's going to be a little bit of a road, but I feel like you're doing the best thing. So I'm like, okay, like I take a step back, and I'm like, don't try to push it at all. Just, chill out. And, honestly, with this, I've gotten a taste of what life is like without racing.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of gives me the feel of like, what my next chapter could be like, and how am I ready for that or not?
Yeah.
So taking this as like a little bit of a reality check of being like, hey, like, is it time to step away? Is it time to keep going? So I'm kind of getting the taste of what that's like right now.
Well, that's kind of where my mind had been. Like, I kind of thought either this downtime is gonna spark something for you. Obviously, I know you're a gnarly competitor, like as competitive as anybody's probably ever been in the sport, but I knew that this was either going to push you one way or the other. Like, hey, I'm ready, or I need to extend this a little bit longer. And yeah, I'd love to ask you about your future. I'm sure, I'm guessing you're probably not to that point yet. So I'll ask you this instead, and this may hint at your future, kind of something like you're hinting at now. Was it hard to watch the pro motos at Sunset Ridge, and again, I know you did this at Ironman, but was it hard to watch them, or is it becoming normal yet?
Like it was, I think it eased it a lot more, where I'm very close with Max. Where I'm a big part of his program this year, and
Mm-hmm.
it really eased it to like be there, really helping him and being in his corner and trying to get him comfortable on the machine. That I think really was a difference maker. I think if I was going there and just to be a straight spectator and just, hang out and chill and watch the races, I probably wouldn't have.
Probably drive you nuts. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I'm like, I should be out there. Like, that's what I'm used to. It's very different. Like, that's the first pro race I've ever watched on the fences, like at Sunset Ridge. And
Yeah.
like, we were over there, a bunch of my friends came down to watch the race, and we were over there talking, and he's like, yeah, like, this is where we sit. This is where we hang out every time you race. And I'm like, oh, cool. Like, I can hear you guys when I come down like that lane right there. He's like, no way. I'm like, yeah, I can hear you. And he's like, whoa, man, you probably haven't ever watched from over here before, have you? I'm like, no. Like,
We'll get right back to the show, but now a word from our sponsors. And thank you for listening to these ads. Without these great companies, none of this would be possible. Show your support for the people who support us. The official tire choice of Digging Deep, CST tires are the choice of ATV racing's elite on the track, in the woods, and every other terrain. CST tires swept the ATV racing world in 2022 as Joel Hetrick, Bryson Neal, and Bo Barron rode their Pulse MXR and Pulse HT tires to an ATV Pro Motocross title, GNCC XC1 Pro title, and 10th ATV Pro Works Racing title, respectively. Led by champion Joel Hetrick and podium contenders Bryce Ford, Jeffrey Rastrelli, and Nick Janusa, CST's Pulse MXR tire is the most trusted tire in ATV motocross today. Available in soft and standard compounds, the Pulse MXR offers the highest level of traction, most predictable cornering, and superior wear characteristics when compared to the competition. And did I mention they have a contingency program as well? Visit shop.csttires.com to join the CST takeover today, or prepare to be beat by someone who did. The best of the best choose CST. Do you? You know we're Team Blue Crew here at the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, as the Yamaha YFZ450R is the official ATV of Digging Deep. In a move started by 8-time ATV MX Pro Class National Champion Chad Wienen, who with his next championship will become the winningest champion in ATV motocross history, we are living in ATV racing's YFZ450R era. Alongside Wienen, 7-time GNCC XC1 Pro ATV National Champion Walker Fowler welcomed a pair of new champions to the Yamaha Champions Club, as the podium-proven Yamaha YFZ450R proved to be the winning choice for Joel Hetrick and Bryson Neal. This unprecedented success for the YFZ450R, its unrivaled quality and performance, and the clear fact that Yamaha is the leading OEM supporter of ATV racing has resulted in a complete Yamaha takeover within the sport quad market. Evident by the continuation of Yamaha's Blue Crew Racer Support Program, Yamaha riders will once again cash in on payout and prize opportunities in 2023, including a chance to win a brand new YFZ450R. For more info, head over to YamahaBlueCrew.com. Follow Yamaha Outdoors, as well as the new Blue Crew official channel on social media, and check out Yamaha's full proven off-road lineup at YamahaOutdoors.com today. SSI Decals, your way. SSI Decals sets the standard with the best looking decals, graphics kits, and vinyl wraps in the industry. Established in 1947, SSI took shape as an offshoot of their parent company by doing a little work for local pro Chad Wienen. Nearly 2 decades later, and fueled by a passion for ATVs, the company has flourished into one of ATV Moto's most recognized brands. From ATV Motocross, SSI has expanded into graphics and design work for top racers in GNCC, Works Racing, Pro Motocross and Supercross, off-road, and more, headlined by 8-time world champion top fuel drag racer Clay Milligan. Whether your project is big or small, SSI Decals will make your identity stick. Get started today at SSIDecals.com and use code DIGGINGDEEP10 for 10% off at checkout. Things are about to get sick. The Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast is brought to you in part by DID and their wide range of championship-winning chains. From the street to the track and everywhere in between, DID chains are designed to give you the optimal riding experience with great performance and increased chain life. Consistent to the core, pick up your box of reliability today. DID, what drives you?
We are proud to be partnered with Namura Technologies. For over 20 years, Namura has pushed the limit of value and reliability in the ATV and side-by-side market. Covering more applications than anyone in the industry, Namura's full line of cast and forged pistons, connecting rods, gasket kits, and industry-leading top-end repair kits and more have led to higher overall engine performance for your machine. Visit your local dealer or online at www.namura.com and follow along on Instagram for giveaways and exciting new products in 2023. Namura Technologies, your one-stop shop engine component supplier.
We are pleased to be partnered with Bronco ATV and UTV Components. Bronco has been an industry leader in replacement hard parts and accessories for all makes and models for over 15 years. With a catalog that includes a full line of electrical components, engine internals and cylinders, shock and suspension parts, winches, clutch kits, valves, carb kits, bearing kits, and drive chain parts, Bronco is your hard part source for whatever you need for whatever you ride. Available exclusively through distributors around the world, visit your local dealer or online at broncoatv.com.
For over 150 years, Valvoline has been dedicated to constant improvement and innovation across all disciplines of racing. As a proud member of Team Valvoline for nearly a decade, I have witnessed their unwavering commitment to pushing the boundaries of performance. Valvoline has sponsored some of the greatest names in motorsports, solidifying their position as a powerhouse within the industry. Being a part of this historically great team has been an incredible privilege. When it comes to my equipment, whether it's my daily commuting vehicles, race quads, or anything in between, I trust nothing but Valvoline. Their range of products and lubricants consistently deliver increased horsepower, durability, and engine life. I'm excited to announce Valvoline's breakthrough in performance, Valvoline Ultimate Power Sports. With up to 8 times stronger rust protection and 50% better wear protection, this cutting-edge formula ensures your ATV's engine runs smoother and longer for the ultimate ride. Tackle rugged terrains with confidence knowing your ATV's engine is equipped with the best protection available. Ready to experience the next level of performance? Head over to shop.valvolineglobal.com and use code DIGGINGDEEP10 at checkout to unlock an exclusive 10% off on your purchase. Don't miss out on this limited time offer to enhance your ATV's performance with Valvoline's Ultimate Power Sports engine oil.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely enjoyed it. I really enjoyed seeing Max do as well as he did, especially pull that last moto and like started to show like what he really had. You know, I knew he was going to shine at some rougher conditions, and you know, that was the next best thing for me.
Yeah, well, that's good to hear. The old Max is back. So yeah, we'll dive into some of the racing here, but it'd be impossible not to want to ride that racetrack that we saw this past weekend. It was absolutely prime. Weather was perfect, nice and rough, nice and hot. Upgraded the starting area, which reminded me of, the first nationals that we had at Walnut in 2006-7, that time there. So that I think that was a good upgrade. And yeah, race day was spicy right away, Chad, with Brandon Hogue and Joel Hetrick. We were actually in the pit together at that time, kind of watching qualifying go down there, but those two were going back and forth for the top spot. But Chad, Sunset Ridge is one of those racetracks, one of the few, I would say, on our tour that it doesn't seem to matter that much to me who gets the top spot, because as the track gets more and more whooped out, and we know the track gets slower throughout the day for the most part, it's really about who's going to be able to keep that pace as long as possible rather than like who's actually going to be able to set the fastest time.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a man's track there where like throughout the day, you're almost guaranteed that it's going to get rougher and rougher and harder. And, to see it was good to see challenges from those guys, challenging with that top qualifier. And like, I joked around with guys like after the race, and I'm like, it's one thing to get, a top qualifier. It's another thing to hold that throughout the whole moto and not drop too much. And like, it definitely showed where like, it was, like I said, it was good to see those guys challenging. And it definitely looks like they've been doing that more often, maybe like Joel, I'm sure he really likes getting the top qualifiers and having that pole position, but maybe like, it doesn't mean the world to him unless it's during the motos.
I think that we watch with these guys. I mean, there was a time where Joel Hetrick was, a lot of times the fastest guy, and maybe you won a lot of the motos at that time. And I think that you're seeing that with some of these younger guys, like, maybe Brandon really, really wants to get the top spot in qualifying. And then that changes over time too for him potentially in the future. I don't know, but, kind of thinking about that in the past, Chad, thinking about past times and past trips to Sunset Ridge, obviously your home track, like I stated earlier. Do you have a favorite Sunset Ridge memory?
It has to be, what would it be? I was actually riding a TRX.
The first one, 2006.
Yep. And I remember it very well, where I was riding Kenda tires at the time, and Jay Goebel and their truck driver, for some odd reason, it slips my mind, but I still remember them so well. They came over and got me set up with some Maxxis tires on my machine, and I was like so stoked. Everybody knew that Maxxis were the best, and we put them on the machine, and I went out and I podiumed that weekend. And I remember like Jeremiah still talks about it to this day. He's like, I remember winning at Sunset Ridge, and all of a sudden there's this Chad Wienen guy in the podium. I'm like, I don't even know who. Like, he's like, who are you? So like,
that's funny.
That's definitely got to be my best memory, the OG of Sunset Ridge.
Yeah, I figured that was gonna be the one. I wanted to fit that into this episode because, yeah, that was like iconic. I remember being there that weekend and thinking to myself, like, as a motocross person, it's always so cool to like think of a privateer putting it on the podium or whatever, like for the dirt bike side of things. And back then, there's all these factory teams and there's all this and that. And Chad Wienen at his local racetrack on a privateer quad puts it on the podium. Like I just is a memory that I'll never forget. So love to relive that. The other Sunset Ridge memory I do want to touch on before we get kind of moving into the races here, and you probably know which one I'm going to bring up, is the one when you and Natalie got together as Can-Am teammates at the bottom of the hill in like 2010 or 2011. And I know that we've talked about this all on the show before, but I got to fit this into this episode. So what do you remember of that whole situation in that day? Because that couldn't have been very fun to come back to the rig after that.
Yeah, I mean, just both of us were battling each other. We were, two really top guns underneath the tent, and that's my home race. And John was out in front of me, and I was getting sick and tired of eating all of his roosts, and I was ready to make a pass. And I ended up really pushing hard over this inside roller, and when I hit it, it really like shot me over into John really, really close, and I just stayed in it, and both of us I ended up hitting John. Both of us went flying off the track. Like, my machine went end over end, broke the radiator. My race is done. And I was like, dang, like, I got to go back to the truck and explain to these guys why I took us both out. But yeah, I mean, it's just me going hard and racing hard and going past that limit that I should have went. But that's not my highest moment or most memorable, but it was definitely a moment where it was like, wow, like, you don't usually see the teammates having that kind of trouble together, but it happened.
Yeah, right in front of the whole crowd there too at the time, right?
Yeah.
The bottom of that hillside was full, and I just remember being like, whoa. You don't see that very often.
Literally, like, I look up and I'm like running to my machine. I'm like, John, I'm sorry. And like, I see his machine still flipping. And I'm like, oh man, like that's not good.
That's not good. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. I won't forget that one. I can't imagine that was real fun for you, but yeah, younger pro memories for you, right? Like, you gotta experience those things to kind of graduate on from that and become the, like I said, the consummate professional and the person that doesn't, miss a beat for 10 or 12 or 13 or whatever years. And we've kind of seen that maturity process with Joel as well. He was crazy guy at the beginning and fast guy, and then has turned into a guy that he hits a lot of his marks too. So we saw Joel end up taking the top spot in qualifying there, going into the motos. And in Moto 1, Bryce Ford ripped the whole shot this past weekend and led the opening laps. And I've said on these shows now for a while that it's kind of baby steps for Bryce, and we're watching him take those. We saw him lead some laps then and go on, and we're seeing him do some more of that, and he's learning a lot. I would think that's what I've been on these shows saying, is he's learning a lot while racing Joel. And he's been getting a few more hole shots, he's leading them a little bit here and there, and there's no substitute for that, I would think. Chad, nobody knows better than you, but I would think that we're seeing him kind of chip away and figure this thing out a little bit. And he was once crazy fast guy too, fast qualifier, all these things, scrubbing like crazy. And I think that this is the process that we're seeing Bryce Ford do too, is kind of figure out what it's like to be a professional every weekend, to hit all your marks. And he's doing a really good job of that.
Yeah. I mean, this is huge times for him, where like him getting a start and leading laps, and then the most important thing is like when he gets past and to try and clue in on what Joel's doing and try to pick up on those things and be close to him and keep closing that gap, like where maybe Joel pull a half second and then the next lap he pulls a tenth of a second, like where he's, learning how to maintain his lap times and keep that intensity I think the hardest thing to do is like when you get past, like to keep your like mental state good where you can continue to push and grab onto that tail and go, because like it's very hard because you can feel defeated when you get past. You're like, okay, like I'm not gonna win. I'm probably not gonna win. And so and you got to fight those mental gremlins, in that position. But he definitely was able to, keep it close and keep a watchful eye and keep learning.
That's great advice, because it is very easy to get defeated and to let that wind kind of get out of your sails when you get past like that. But he's been
Yep.
doing a great job. He's really becoming a really, really, really solid guy week in and week out. So Joel would make the pass on Bryce, and he would eventually check out to a 16+ second lead behind him. It got interesting for a moment as Brandon Hogue actually caught Bryce Ford at one point, but Bryce would kind of weather the storm. I thought that was impressive. And then after the storm had been weathered, Brandon Hogue suffered a little get off. I don't know if you saw that or not, but little get off for Brandon Hogue there, seemingly on the kind of the front half of the racetrack or whatever. And that took him from challenging for second and kind of, dropped him down to kind of the middle of the pack there in Moto 1.
Yeah, I mean, when you see like Brandon, like he got like a middle of the pack start, had some guys to go through, and to see that push, like that was a really good push that he put on to try and catch Bryce. I knew that it was going to be a challenge for Bryce because for how much effort he's putting in to try and stay with Joel and hold off Joel, like that's can be like, your double-edged sword of like, your demise throughout your moto, as long as you don't like wear yourself out too much. But like that push that Brandon put in, it looked like he was sometimes the fastest guy on the track, like at times. And he was rolling. Like you see a guy that he's hanging it out. Like he was going after it, and it showed when, he had his get off. I did not see it, but he definitely was putting everything he had into it, and you could tell. And it was also like he was really trying to, it almost seemed like he was trying to pass Joel, or not Joel, but Bryce anywhere he could, where he wasn't really planning out like where he would do it. But man, he just kept the intensity on, kept pushing on Bryce. But you seen eventually like Bryce like kind of weather the storm for a while, and then it seemed like I don't know if it like got to Brandon or it looked like he kind of just pushed a little harder in that bottom line down there, and he hopped over one and then he hopped over another, and that was the end of it. It looked like.
Yeah. I think I had wondered the same after Bryce had weathered the storm, if, now Brandon, kind of found himself even pushing harder, and that's what happened there. But yeah, so then Wesley Wolf, he ends up being the beneficiary of Brandon's mistake, moving back into third. He was in third earlier in the race there, and he moves back into third, and he held off Max Lindquist by the skin of his teeth at the finish line. Actually, at one point, I thought Max was going to maybe jump into him in that inside line there at the finish line there. But yeah, heck of a battle. But Wesley Wolf coming off an injury. We had him on the show last week. We heard all the details on that. That was awesome. But on the roughest racetrack of the year, Wesley Wolf holds on to hold on to the top 3 spot to end that first moto. But credit to your guy too, Max Lindquist, pushing to the bitter end. And who knows, if there was another corner there, things might have been different. But yeah, those guys battled to the end. That was the battle to watch on the racetrack late in the moto. And Wesley Wolf ends up holding on for third, but Max Lindquist sets himself up for a podium. Spoiler alert here, but podium later in the day as the day
Yeah.
finishes up there.
He definitely, man, like it was like with Wesley, coming off that injury and him, continuing to progress, and for him to hold off Max, like I was like, man, like he dug deep for that one, and like big props to him to do that. And like with Max, like he was definitely trying everything that he could to try and get around Wesley, but like it seemed like he would try a couple lines, lose a little bit of time, make a mistake, just kind of, having to keep trying to reel back in after he would lose a little bit of time. And, props to Wesley for, pushing through that and grinding and finishing, in that third place position, because, that track. I was told that first moto was the roughest of the day. So
I believe it. Yeah, I believe it. And I think that we saw that, right? We saw that even reflected in the lap times, that the Moto 2 lap times were a little quicker than Moto 1, which is unheard of for Sunset Ridge. Kind of tying up that first moto there, rookie Mason Jackson continues to impress. He rounded out the top 5 as Brandon Hogue would end up settling for 6th after that wreck there. So Moto 2, Chad, this time Joel gets the whole shot. He checks out. He leads wire to wire on his way to a 13+ second victory. Now just 6 motos separate Joel from the perfect season. And Jeffrey pondered to me on last week's show about how close you ever came to a potential perfect season. I couldn't remember how late in the season you had, kind of kept an unblemished record. I know, those 2012, 13, 14, that era there was really dominant for you. How close did you ever come to the potential perfect season there?
I know I can't remember exactly, but it was not near what Joel is right now.
Just in the way that it fell though, right? Like, cause you had a year where you won like every overall but one or whatever, but it must've been earlier on that happened.
Yeah. Like I remember going on like a 4 race win streak, one winning each moto, but like, man, like I just feel like it was different times of that where, you line up against John Natale, he's probably going to get a really good start. So like I was having to deal with, but like an Upperman, like having Upperman on the gate, like, he had tough guys to get around, but Joel was definitely like executing, everything that he has to do. Like, I mean, there's definitely that possibility that he could do it. I want to see, like, I would like to see like one of these guys really take him down to the wire, like in a moto, and see what he's willing to do for that, or if he's gonna play like I guess I don't really care, or maybe he does really care. But I mean, I know Joel, like he's a guy that wants to. There's no satisfaction, it's every race you're going out there and proving yourself and proving what you can do. And I'm kind of the same way. I just want to win overall. So that's all I want to do, and win championship.
Well, and I think it's one of those things, right? Like, you don't think about a perfect season. Like, he didn't sign up for this, right? I mean, it just so happens that he's been perfect to this point. And at some point it becomes a talking point. I just think that with you being out, people started bringing it up really, really early. And I can't imagine, I don't want to speak out of pocket here, but I've been trying to be really respectful of not putting the dude like on the show and asking him weird questions and whatever, because I don't want to add to the pressure of what it must feel like to be 6 motos away from, a perfect season. But like I said, he didn't ask for that. He didn't ask for it. It's just the way it played out. But it's one of those things that, like, as soon as you keep putting wins and wins and wins together, eventually, it's gonna be a talking point. But yeah, I've been trying to be respectful because I don't want to jinx it for him.
No, for sure. Like, I think a big question would be to ask, like, Joel, is like, where's your head at? Like, when you go to the races, are you super focused? Like, cause I remember like, it was like within like it was probably like my 3rd championship. Like, I actually, like, I'll get to the end of the year and I'll be kind of bored. Like, I wanted that challenge, that extra challenge of like somebody really pushing me to my limit, to like, because that's what keeps me driving and like keeps me like super interested in it. And it'd be interesting to ask Joel, like, do you feel that way? Do you feel any of that? Are you getting bored, or are you all in, like, kind of see what's going through his head. Obviously, I'm sure he's thinking about it now that he's 6 motos away. We haven't really ran into much weather. We're always usually guaranteed at least one. So usually that will throw some issues out there and see how like everybody, reacts to that.
Well, it's interesting that you say that because your two fellow pro rider co-hosts here that I've had the last 2 weeks have brought up the exact same thing. They said, man, what weather would really spice things up. But yeah, the guy has had things unlocked so far this year. And I wouldn't be surprised if the potential perfect season is what has kept the guy engaged, right? Like if that was something on your radar, maybe that would be the motivation. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if he would be open to to a battle, to some pressure, to whatever. And I would love to see that because just like you said, I'm pretty confident that the guy's got more speed. He's got more stuff he could pull out if given the circumstance that he had to. But, each one of these races, whether it's at Sunset Ridge or Budds Creek or, High Point or whatever, they look so similar to where, even if somebody leads for a little bit, it's 2-3 laps, he makes the pass, he puts a gap on, and then he maintains his lap time. So credit to him for being so on top of it to be as calculated as he is. But yeah, I would love to see a little bit of a challenge.
We interrupt this program for a special news bulletin.
The following message is brought to you by Manscaped.com. The Manscaped engineering team has outdone themselves this time, creating the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, now available for purchase in the US and Canada. Join over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped, an official sponsor of the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast, with this exclusive offer of 20% off and free worldwide shipping with code DiggingDeep20 at Manscaped.com. I'm one of the first people to try the new 4.0 and I am blown away. This thing is next level. What sets this trimmer apart from all the rest? The Lawnmower 4.0 gives you the ability to turn the LED spotlight on and off when needed for a more precise shave. It features a new multi-functioning on-off switch with travel lock for those of us who like to travel. And my favorite, the new trimmer allows you to customize your trim with 4 different guard lengths, an upgrade from its predecessor that only featured 2. If you're listening, you know that good tools are a must, so wait no more to get the best tools for the job. Get 20% off and free shipping with code DiggingDeep20 at Manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at Manscaped.com by using code DiggingDeep20.
Hey everyone, this is Larry Mills, president of DP Brakes North America and proud partner of the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast. We at DP Brakes are a longtime supporter of ATV racing and the world leader in sintered brake technology, dominating the ATV world for decades by supporting the best four-wheel racers on the planet. This year's lineup includes Jeff Rastrelli, Mark Baldwin and Baldwin Motorsports, Ford Brothers Racing, Nick Janusa, and many more, including Mr. Digging Deep himself, Cody Jansen, plus all the top 17 GNCC pros such as 7-time champion Walker Fowler, Bryson Neal, Hunter Hart, Cole Richardson, Jared McClure, Adam McGill, and previous champion Chris Borich. These top riders continue to appreciate the high performance and impressive durability that their DP brakes have to offer, products that ultimately help place them on top of the podium week after week. DP brakes are available through www.dp-brakes.com, or you can purchase them through your local Parts Unlimited stocking dealer, or you can even message us, myself, Larry Mills, or DP Brakes on Instagram or Facebook. And if you have any questions about product or sponsorship support, please ask us. We are waiting for you. Join the best ATV riders in the world equipped with DP Brakes, and have a great year, everyone.
Nearing 2 decades into the brand's existence, Factory 43 is back and better than ever, continuing to make major waves in the ATV world. For the 3rd consecutive season, Factory 43 is the official aluminum parts choice of the Phoenix Racing ATV team, providing their state-of-the-art Evo Nerf bars, MX-style front bumpers, and grab bars for 2-time champ Joel Hetrick. If you're in the market to upgrade your Nerf bars, bumpers, or grab bars, head over to Factory43ATV.com to see their full line of industry-leading products available for all makes and models. Head over to Factory43ATV.com today.
Hey everyone, it's Michelle Stillo, director of the D6 Ultimate Quad Series. We've been working hard over the years to bring you the very best in local ATV motocross racing. The D6 Ultimate Quad Series has race classes for all ages and skill levels. Maybe you're an experienced rider or you're just starting out, we have a class for you. We're excited to announce that we have 11 rounds of racing at tracks located in Pennsylvania, New York, and Maryland. For more information, follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
Your career and Joel's career will forever be tied together. I know I've said that to you a number of times on this show, but like all of his wins have basically come with you on the racetrack, and many of yours have come with him on the racetrack. So your two careers will always be tied together. So it's kind of fitting, now that your numbers of wins are now almost even with each other as well. He's up to 64 and you're at 66 professional overalls. Two absolute legends living in the same time period within ATV racing. And Chad, I don't know if we'll ever see that again, where you'll have these two, gargantuan mammoth, however you want to put it, two legends of the sport at the exact same time coexisting together. That's why I've always thought it's so cool. And we've watched your relationship with each other, kind of start, maybe it was a little rocky at the beginning, and then, gain more and more respect throughout the way. And now, I don't know if you consider yourself friends or whatever, but you're obviously like close. You're both dads. There's obviously a lot of respect there. And that's been cool to see that morph from what it started as to what it is now. But you two have etched out being two of the greatest ever kind of within the same time period. I think it actually adds clout to each of your arguments as the greatest racers of all time, because you had to do it against each other instead of just being out there like we're seeing Joel right now. Like the class is really, really good, but you're not out there challenging him.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Like it's probably what kept me in it, as long as I have, like the constant challenge and to get better and bring your best every single weekend. That I feel like if I was out there, winning everything, I would probably get very bored and probably step away because I'm, probably not having that as much fun as I should be. And, definitely with Joel, like growing relationship, it's been, I think the two of us needed each other to, to keep pushing. And I see right now, like, these other guys are putting everything they got into challenging and trying to take that position away. There's no easy task because I live it, myself, last year, but man, it's good to see like the fight in these guys, and they want to bring everything they got to try to knock them off. And that's what brings you back every single race, and enjoying that. And I mean, thank you for the words. I definitely, I pride myself in racing against the best guys, and like how many different, like, I guess, yeah, I call them like generations of, riders that I've been able to race with. And it's very cool to race against some of the greats, and that you'll see here in, about 3 weeks at the Legends race. And I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of those guys that I haven't seen for a while and enjoying their company.
Well, we'll get into that in a couple of minutes, but I was going to say, you basically raced everybody, with the exception of a guy or two, maybe you raced everybody in that Legends race at one time or another in your career. So yeah, I think that is feathers in your cap for sure. The fact that you raced just about anybody and everybody. I can't imagine, like, we could count them up here, but all the past champions that you raced against, from, I don't know, Spader at the beginning, and Natalie and Wimmer, and I mean, just, Creamer, all the guys, obviously Joel and stuff. So, so many championships there that you've lined up against. But back to this past weekend, Bryce Ford logged another strong moto there in Moto 2, all alone in second for much of that one. Max Lindquist made a run at him late there. He was P3 for the entire moto, and that earned Max his third podium in 4 rounds here, Chad. So talked to Max right at the start of the season that he was excited to get back to your program, and he's been strong all season, and he's been getting stronger and stronger and stronger. Now, like I said, 3 podiums in the last 4 races, and a true renaissance year for Max. I love to see it. Obviously, as a local guy to me, I love Max. He's such a great kid, great head on his shoulders, but he's really coming into his own here, and I think you're kind of seeing that belief. I know you said you're working on the machine with him, getting him more comfortable, but we're also seeing that belief where we've basically seen him we've seen podiums from him, but we've seen him finish 7th in points every year as a pro. And he's definitely graduated on from that, because he could, I said on social media earlier today, he could cap his season. He could end his season right now, and it'd be by far the best season of his career. So love seeing Max coming into his own, and he's been really strong. And we saw that this past weekend with another podium 3 times in 4 weeks.
Yeah, he really really is starting to come into his own, and the confidence is building. Like, had very like deep talks with him, and his confidence was rock bottom last year, and it's taken him a while to get it back, and he's getting it. And I think probably one of the coolest parts about it is like he's going to work on Monday, and he works for his dad, and it kind of reminds me like when I was a privateer. Like I did the same thing. That's what I did. I go to work. My dad would let me off early on Thursdays ahead of the race, and I would be back to work on Monday. And he's doing that same grind, and like, for him to do that well against, like, there's several riders that they just focus on racing and riding and training, and for him to stack up with those guys and line up with them and share a podium with them is huge for him. And I can't believe that he's on the podium where he's going to work, and just having that I would call it like just a huge like rush, because seeing this weekend like how excited they were, being on the podium. It was like it's his first one again. So like to see that's like very like rewarding, and he's gonna I feel like he's gonna be there. I feel like we found something that second moto, like for him, that he closed the gap on Bryce and really pushed on him throughout the moto, and like he made smart choices. He didn't throw it away, and that's a huge part of the battle.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said on social media, I mean, don't look now, but the dude is only 15 points out of third in points. Like he's really, really, really in a good place and really getting hot at the right time. So I love to see it. And we kind of had the conversation, Max and I did, that, going to work during the week and all those things can really make you appreciate, riding your four-wheeler and in training, and makes all that stuff feel like it's not actual work, So credit to Max, man. I'm so proud of him, and awesome to see him back in your program and doing so well. Let's run down the rest of the overalls here quickly, Chad. So Wesley Wolf, he goes 3-5 for fourth overall. Strong showing for him. He's a bad man. We touched on him a little bit already. Brandon Hogue ends up fifth overall in the same weekend that it's announced that he's going to be joining Joel Hetrick and Bryce Ford on Team USA, representing the Team USA squad at the Quad Cross of Nations this year. So congrats to all three of those guys. Mason Jackson, who doesn't look like a rookie at all, ends up going 5-6 for sixth overall in the day. And Chad, as a rookie, to see Mason doing as well as he's doing, Mason Jackson, got to be impressed with him. We both know the lay of the land in the pro class right now, but that doesn't take anything away from Mason Jackson putting it in the top five. We've seen a couple top five overalls from him at this point, seen top fives in motos. He's almost doing it every weekend at this point. He's been flashing in time qualifying. He's really looking like a guy. And then I see him in the pits, man, and I'm like, he's just a kid, So, I think the future is very bright for Mason Jackson. I didn't want to just jump over him because I would love to hear what you think about the season that he's put together so far, but it sure has been impressive.
Yeah. Looking at like last year to this year, he's taken a huge jump of like speed and keeping that intensity throughout the race. He's got to be very proud of that. And like the results that he's putting up is I would say if, like, he probably wasn't expecting it. He was hoping for it,
Yeah.
So got to be really proud of that. And his team's working hard to keep that machine on the track as well. I was joking around with him this weekend. I'm like, hey, like, you can taste the dirt by the roost of the tires, but you don't have to get off the machine to taste it. So like, just seems like a good kid, and enjoyed talking with him a little bit. For them to head out, I think they're going out for motos or qualifiers, one of the two. But yeah, he's got to be really proud of what he's doing right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Been super impressed, and he seems like a really good kid. Kevin Saar, he ended up solid 7-7 for seventh overall. Joe Chambers, strong rookie campaign for him as well. 8-8 for eighth overall. Cody Ford goes 9-9 for ninth. And I have to highlight this guy, Adam Ulrich, riding with a broken arm, got hurt there at Budds Creek. He goes 10-10 for 10th overall. So much respect to him. And Marshall Smith rounds out the field, going 11-11 for 11th overall. at Sunset Ridge. I want to quickly mention a couple amateur classes as Mason Jackson, we were just talking about him. He wins the Pro-Am overall, followed by Joey Norris and Cale Deal. JJ Launderville, who's like your size, Chad. He's got to rival you for being the tallest racer at the racetrack, but he seemingly was in position for the overall there in Moto 2 until mechanical derailed that for him. So big bummer for JJ and the Launderville crew there. But Saturday was his day. He was the class of the field in pro sport, followed by Zach Kazmarek and Joey Norris. So yeah, JJ had his day there on Saturday. Bummed that things kind of fell apart there on Sunday with that mechanical. Kinsey Osborne, she kept the WMX Moto win streak alive and secured 3 consecutive titles in that class.
One thing I wanted to touch on was like your recap of like some amateur racing and stuff. Like, man, like watching like Launderville on Sunday, his performance in that first moto, like him getting a rare hole shot and, you know, leaving kind of like dropping everybody was like impressive to see. I could see like Mason Jackson was like, it was like a perfect setup for a spectator to watch the race. Like he was dicing himself through the pack. The track was a lot faster that day too, so it was harder to make passes. And like it was cool to see Gage Beebe get a good start and him, you know, finish it off in that third place, that first Moto 2. And Cale Deal rode really well. I seen he got on the podium overall. And man, like there's a lot of good guys in that class, and it's good to see like they had like a near full gate for that class too. So it's good to see that.
It's fun. I mean, it's so fun to see. You got Mason Jackson, who's like setting kind of the standard or the goal for what it's going to be like when these guys go pro. Like he's been so good. Like I said, in his rookie season, he's kind of setting the standard and the goal for these guys going forward. And you got, you know, Kevin Sars in the class. So he's, a European champion and all these things. And then, yeah, you got the up and comer kids. You got Joey Norris, who's, 17, but he's, like going as fast as anybody on the racetrack. And then Launderville, who's becoming so solid. And yeah, so that's such a fun class to watch because it's got a little bit of everything. So yeah, I'm glad you touched on that.
Success in the ATV MX world is similar to what creates financial success as well. The right people, the right advice, and more importantly, hard work and the benefit of an ongoing relationship as situations change and adversity is experienced. Do you have the right financial advisor to help you reach your goals? Haymauer Financial Group can create a personalized, goal-based plan to help your family prepare for whatever life brings. Call me, Scott Haymauer, at Haymauer Financial Group, a private wealth advisory practice of Ameriprise Financial Services, at 920-338-8150. That's 920-338-8150. Offices located in beautiful De Pere, Wisconsin, with registrations and clients nationwide.
Headlined by the 4130 Chromoly, Launderville Steel and Concrete Supply is a full-service steel supplier of new and surplus steel, aluminum, and stainless steel products. This racing family-owned full metal service center and concrete product supplier comes with over 30 years of experience serving the entire United States from their central Midwest location. As the #1 choice for nationwide shipments and with available next-day delivery in select areas, LSE has you covered near or far. 4130 is not just the chromoly tubing and plate used in the building of chassis for an array of motorsports applications, but it is also the name of the newest addition to the pro paddock with riders Jaden JJ Launderville and Max Lindquist, introducing the new 4130 Motorsports team. Launderville Steel offers a large selection of material for any project, including their concrete division that can supply everything you need to complete your next business or personal project. For a quote or more info, visit laundervillesteel.com today or give them a call at 715-675-6193. That's 715-675-6193. Here at Digging Deep, we have an obvious passion for ATVs and pridefully enjoy sharing the sport's history. Since 2019, when the podcast was born, we've been working to partner with individuals who share our passion, but one man and his vision had been missing from our partnership group. Until now. When it comes to the sport's history, the hallowed grounds of Binky's Forever ATC Museum has it all. Binky Tapscott's mind-blowing collection of 3- and 4-wheelers has preserved history by spanning all makes and models from Honda 3-wheelers in chronological order to unique builds that shaped ATV racing as we know it, like Doug Gust's iconic DRZ-powered hybrid thumper and everything in between. There's no denying Binky's passion, a passion that we certainly relate to here at Digging Deep. Binky's goal is to share his amazing collection with fellow enthusiasts by making his prized possessions accessible to the public via scheduled visits. Follow Forever ATC Museum on Facebook and watch foreveratc.com for further updates on possibly getting a chance to see Binky's Forever ATC Museum for yourself. We are proud to welcome Binky's Forever ATC Museum to the Digging Deep family. As the #1 podcast in ATV racing, it's only right that we partner with the industry leaders in suspension tuning. Insert Impact Solutions. Impact Solutions is a full-service ATV and side-by-side suspension center specializing in the revalving and service of your motocross and off-road suspension. With over 25 years of elite-level knowledge, experience, and testing with riders of all ages and ability levels, Jay Goebel and the Impact crew strive to exceed clients' expectations for service and setup. Impact Solutions is the official Elka Suspension Service Center of the United States, offering unmatched product knowledge and experience. Whether you're in need of service, parts, warranty, sales, or technical support, Impact Solutions has you covered. Head over to impactsolutionsatv.com or give them a call today. With the desire to keep you in the race, Ultimate Poly Products offers the ultimate protection collection of case savers, chain sliders, intake manifolds, and more. Founded on quality in 1998, this family-owned and operated business produces products created by racers for racers. These industry-leading products are proudly made and manufactured in the USA, with their case savers being made of the highest quality American-made polyurethane on the market and designed to completely conform to your engine case to help prevent case damage from a thrown chain, because no one wants to be a spectator on race day. Join top pro riders like Bryson Neal, Walker Fowler, John Glotta Jr., Adam McGill, Cole Richardson, and more by using UPP Racing products. Use discount code DiggingDeep15 at uppracing.com to save on your next order. Ultimate Poly Products, made to last longer so you can ride more. Thanks for listening, and remember to support our partners. Now back to the show. Probably the biggest news of the weekend, Chad, we touched on it a little bit already, was the announcement of Team USA. And as I mentioned, Joel Hetrick and Bryce Ford will return. That was kind of a no-brainer. Brandon Hogue will get his opportunity to represent the U.S. there on European soil with you being out injured. And I asked you over the weekend, but I wanted to do it on record here on air, if you would have any involvement with, the Team USA efforts, because Lord knows, you bring a lot to the table and a lot of experience and all those things. And maybe there's been some development in the last, week here. I don't know. But will you have any involvement with Team USA this fall?
Well, I mean, I'm already involved with it. With I'm working with the guys on what's running the best race fuel and stuff like that they can get for the team. We definitely have a great team. This is a good, obviously, good team for Brandon to join, and I think those guys will really help him through the steps of it. The team has approached me to travel to the event. I'm still trying to work things out with I got to put myself first, in this. Obviously, I would love to see it through, going through, to FIM and go to that track. I've seen the track on TV. It looks great where they're going to be headed. Definitely wish that I could be racing instead of, helping the team, but there's always that chance that I will go. I would really like to. I think it's more of the timing's got to be right. And because I'll probably start for me to get back to riding around that time as well. So I just got to see how everything kind of plays out, but I definitely want to, like I have been, help out the team, with anything they need. Unsure of if I'll be traveling to the event, but we'll soon see.
Just to kind of tie a bow on that, you would do anything for them, obviously, any question that any of those riders had. First timer, Brandon Hogue, I'm sure that you'd do anything to help him out and, clear his mind of any questions or anything like that. But yeah, like you're saying, it's a big commitment to go over there. It's time consuming. You'd have to go without your family and all those things. And yeah, there's no shame in, having to be a little selfish sometimes with your time, but wanted to ask the question about, and give you the opportunity to say, hey, I'd do anything. I just don't know if I can go there. But obviously you would do anything for those guys. And you kind of hinted at it there too, about the difference a little bit with the event this year. Harv was telling me this past weekend that, we're returning to the Czech Republic where we've been before, of course, but It's a different track. This time it's Lockett, and Lockett is where MXGP races when they go there. So this is on a grander scale than than when we've went there as a Team USA. When we went to Europe, we haven't been on an MXGP probably quality racetrack yet. I don't think. We've went to some cool racetracks, but not maybe MXGP ready ones. And this year's event is also like fully sanctioned by the FIM and the World Federation there, right? So it sounds like the event could and will be bigger and better than ever from what it sounds like.
Yeah. I mean, been kind of dreaming about this, since we started this journey. And like, I know Harv and I really pushed to try and get this into like a full FIM event and be able to go to these, like, I would call them like our national caliber tracks, like outdoor motocross does. And that's the taste that we're going to get, come this fall. And I think it puts us on a larger scale. Like if the team wins, like we get invited to the same awards banquet that like the superbike guys or like, MotoGP guys go to, the MXGP riders, so we're on a world stage of, recognition, for winning that event. And that's very special. Nothing but good should come from this.
Well, I think that, like you said, you and Harv, you wanted to emulate the motocross of nations. Like that was the whole deal. Like we wanted this to be the ATV version of the motocross of nations, and having it be FIM sanctioned is truly making it, basically the equal. And that's a really big thing. So credit to you guys for working as hard as you have to pull this whole thing together. It's so cool. Like there is nothing cooler than the Team USA livery and the bikes and everything that goes into that. Chad, as we wind down here, got to get your thoughts on this Legends race. You mentioned it a little bit ago. We're exactly a month away from the dates today, the 27th. It's the July 27th at Briarcliff there next month. So I can't wait for that. Can't wait to be there. It's headlined, obviously, and these are our riders. This is our confirmed list of riders here. I got it in front of me. Headlined by Doug Gust, Travis Spader, Shane Hitt, John Natale, Dustin Wimmer, Joe Bird, Corey Ellis, Dana Creech, Tavis Kane, Johnny Hale, Cale Downing, Doug Eichner, Josh Upperman, Pat Brown, Davey Hagsema, Nick DeNoble, Richard Pelchat, Tyler Hamrick, Justin Brees, Billy Cottage, and Barry McCarty. Chad, straight up, I don't even know what question to ask you about this thing. I think the excitement is so real. But what thoughts do you have? Anything you got? What thoughts do you have when you look at this list? You think about the Legends race? You think about all this becoming a reality? All these things. I don't know. What comes to mind?
I gotta say, it was impressive that you got Doug Gust to commit.
I can't believe it, dude. I can't believe it. I sent him so many text messages trying to make this thing happen. And when I finally got the confirmation, I'm like, man, I can't believe that they pulled it off.
Yeah, I think that's really cool to see, man. Like, I think one of the coolest parts are going to be like where like some of these riders will bring back like some of their old machines that they rode. And I think that'll be like a real like blast from the past and like be like, oh yeah, like that was a cool machine. Like, let's say if Doug does ride that Z400, that'd be insane.
It would be sick.
Yeah, that'd be insane and sick. But there's a lot of guys that have these machines still, and hopefully, like they do bring those out and they keep them running throughout the weekend. And just it's gonna be great to see all those guys in the same track again. I hope everybody can like, keep it real and not push themselves too far to compete throughout the whole day and have fun. And I can't wait to, like, for me, I can't wait to reminisce about like some of the good racing days that I shared with them. And man, I think I'm more looking forward to like the company of them. So,
Well, I think a lot of these guys, I didn't think you'd ever even get them back to an ATV national, let alone on the racetrack. And yeah, like I'm kind of the exact same thinking, and I don't want I'm not here like I don't want any credit for it or anything like that, and maybe I had very little to do with it, but like I know Travis Spader is like the most elusive dude that there is. Like we joked about, Doug Gust or whatever. I know he's very busy with crop dusting and all these things. Like, yeah, I get it, but I can't even get a message back from Travis Spader. And I started pushing the buttons of the Travis Spader thing, and I knew Janusa, like, talked to him and all these things. And then as I started kind of pushing it on the internet, we got a guy who's got one of Spader's old bikes. And then, I kind of, connected the dots of, okay, this guy says he's going to do it, sent it to Nick. Nick gets the okay. Like, so Travis is going to bring the 2-stroke. He's been riding it, like all these things, man. Like that's the coolest thing of all, like to have people show up on old quads. And like, this is truly a once in a lifetime thing. Like, I don't want to overstate it, but like, I don't know that anything like this ever happens again, especially with these guys that we like we've talked about this before. Like we grew up, like you raced against Doug, but like we both like Doug's the guy. And I can't believe we're going to have him back at a race and riding a quad. And man, it's going to be insane. And I can't imagine all the people, like the whole internet says that they're going to show up for this thing. So I can't imagine the spectators and the people and the excitement and the hoopla that we're going to have at this event. It's going to remind me of, ATV Nationals 10 or 15 years ago, I think. Like, it's just going to be the coolest thing. Like every aspect of it is going to be freaking awesome. I can't believe it's only a month away. I can't wait to announce this race. Like I'm so grateful that's like, it's not happening at a race. I'm not going to buy. I would make a point to be there no matter where it is. But the fact that I'm going to be able to be on the mic for it, like, man, just so many things about this event going to be so cool. And to think that we get to watch these guys one more time. I can't even like I'm a guy that, I picture things. I can't picture this. Like that's how out of this world I think it's going to be.
Oh, it'll be rad, especially like you said, like if Sprader brings that 2-stroke, man, hear a 2-stroke really sing again, and that'd be awesome to hear.
And there was guys this past weekend trying to, that were asking me about how they get in touch with Dana because they have one of Dana's old quads. And I mean, just think of some of those names. Like, I can't believe we're going to have Corey Ellis back at an ATV National and Dana Creech. And man, it's going to be nuts, man. Can't wait.
It'll be legendary.
It'll be legendary. So you've raced most of those guys. Like I said earlier, you're still a current racer. So, and you've dropped some hints here during this conversation, Chad. So I'll enter conversation kind of piggybacking off of that. What are the chances, or what can you tell me, what do you want to elaborate on about, whatever future plans you may have, Chad? Will I still be calling you a current racer in 2025?
Let's see. Like me mentally, yes, I do. I want to return to racing. I got to make sure they got my family's, backing behind me, and they're all in with that because I put them through the ringer this year. Mm-hmm. So like for me, I feel like I got more, and I don't want to go out on, I want to go out on my own terms and do that. And I want to go out on my best as well. And I still feel like I can do that. So I gotta, obviously, first and foremost, I gotta heal 100% and, get my family behind me. And my family's been chasing me for, 20 years in this, and, there's always a time, and I want to make the right choice for not only myself and my family as well, because I got a lot of life left with them. So yeah, I mean, I gotta feel like once I get on the machine, like make sure everything's still there, and because, if there's a fear in the back of my mind, I'm not going to push myself through a season of going through that distress.
No, that's the right answer, Chad. If the family's on board and you want to do everything right by them and all those things, that's obviously paramount. But to hear you say that, you would love to end it on your own terms and you want to come back and you want to ride and all those things, that's great to hear too. So Chad, you're the freaking man. I can't thank you enough for doing this with me, making a little time talking about the races. Not something that we've ever really done before. And this has been the biggest hiatus of having you on the show since the show started. So just awesome to sit here with you, spend some time with you this evening, talk about the races, talk about your home race, all these things. So Chad, I can't thank you enough for your time, and best of luck in the next couple steps here in your recovery process. And will we see you at Briarcliff? Is that what you were kind of hinting at there? You're going to be at Briarcliff. We'll see you there for the Legends race.
I wanna be there. I haven't figured out how, like, whether I'm bringing, my truck or if I'm flying. I don't know just yet, but I wouldn't miss it unless there's something that really happened. So yeah.
Look forward to seeing you there, Chad. And thank you again for your time and everything, all your involvement, your support of the show over the years. Can't thank you enough for that. And we'll see you at Briarcliff, pal.
Yes, sir. No, perfect timing.
That's 8-time champion Chad Wienen signing off here on the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast, brought to you by SSI Decals. Thanks so much, Chad. Have a good night. Go Pack Go.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Thanks, Chad. Man, it's always such a joy every time we get that guy on the show. He's a legend, and no matter what happens next, he doesn't want to be done. So we'll see how it plays out, but I find some solace in the fact that he definitely didn't shoot down any thoughts of him coming back in 2025. So I love to hear it. Hopefully the family's on board. Major thanks to Chad Wienen himself for joining this week's episode as our featured co-host. Thanks to producer Dallas Jansen, my brother, for all his hard work. Thanks to my wife, Brooke, and thanks to AMA official Harv Whipple. Thanks to all of our donors. Thanks to all of our partners. CST Tires, go to shop.csttires.com today. Yamaha, thanks to Blue Crew. Thanks to SSI Decals, Valvoline, DID Racing Chain, Nimura Technologies, Bronco ATV and UTV Components, Launderville Steel Enterprises and Concrete Supply, the financial advice of the Haymauer Financial Group, DP Brakes, Factory 43, Binky's Forever ATC Museum, Impact Solutions, Ultimate Poly Products, UPP Racing. Use discount code DiggingDeep15 at uppracing.com. The D6 Ultimate Quad Series, and Manscaped. Get 20% off and free shipping with code DiggingDeep20 at manscaped.com. Support all the brands that support our show, and don't forget to use those codes to save. Find it all on our website, and be sure to click that Rocky Mountain ATVMC banner for all your gear and parts needs and to help us out. And most of all, thanks to you guys for listening. For the first time this calendar year, we are stocked up on Digging Deep merch, so head over to shop.diggingdeepatvmx.com today, and you can find all things ATV fantasy related at diggingdeepatvfantasy.com. A couple notes on that. We are now just one race away from the Legends race at Briarcliff, less than a month now. And that means that soon our Legends will be added to the ATV fantasy game for that round. So that's super exciting. So stay tuned for that. We're about a week away right now from picks being open to start picking the Legends. So that's a crazy thought. We've been targeting that and looking forward to that for so long at this point. And one other thing, we talked about the Quad Cross of Nations in the Czech Republic, Team USA. We talked about all those things on this episode, and I just want to tease something now, because in the coming days, we're going to drop a huge opportunity for anybody that wants to possibly go to the Czech Republic for the biggest and best Quad Cross of Nations event yet. You're going to have an opportunity to potentially go for dirt cheap, thanks to the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast. So stay tuned for that. Coming days, stay tuned for that. You're not going to want to miss it. If you're looking for another easy way to help support us, visit our website and click the Patreon or Buy Me a Coffee donation buttons. This allows you to set up a one-time or monthly contribution to support our efforts. Follow the show on social media, Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, and myself, Cody Jansen, for additional content, coverage, and more fun stuff as we are in the heart of this ATV motocross season, and we're at the events that we've been staring down and looking forward to all year long. So we're stoked about it. This is the highlight of the ATV motocross season at this point. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and more. Wherever you find podcasts, you'll find the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast. All episodes, additional podcast providers, sponsor links, and discount codes, show merchandise, fantasy info, and more can all be found on our website, diggingdeepatvmx.com. So check that out today. Be a friend, tell a friend. Please download, subscribe, rate, review, and share. And with that, for Chad Wienen, Brooke Jansen, Dallas Jansen, and I'm your host, Cody Jansen. Thanks for listening to and making us the most listened to podcast in ATV racing, with more than 259,000 downloads last month in 109 total countries. Until next time, thanks for joining us in Digging Deep with the Stars of ATV Motocross. Things are crashing and burning here at the Digging Deep podcast, much like the Titanic.
Those guys were hauling ass, for real.
I remember watching Doug Gus, I don't know who it was, Steel City, running the same times Friday afternoon as James Stewart was on Sunday back then. It was mental. I've never seen quads go that fast.
Quad leaders are freaking gnarly.